You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 3 of The Hills We Die On, listener episode.
Okay, so everyone decided at 8 o'clock, this is when we should text Grant. Perfect.
Do you want me to add on? I can also text you.
I just set a reminder to send a different group of text out later. I don't need more messages. I actually really am. Are we recording? Good. I want this on the record. I actually think I'm going to start keeping kind of like Bridgerton hours, which is like there is a receiving hour. I'm not going to announce it to anyone. But there is a receiving hour in which I will respond to messages. Yeah. And so if you then want to get a response back from me, you can respond during that receiving hour or wait until the next receiving hour.
That's what I do. It's just not intentional.
Right, but same, and I feel guilt about it because I'm like, I have 18 messages from people who like I love and cherish and who love and cherish me, and I cannot be bothered right now. But instead, if I just have receiving hour, then I'll feel better about everything.
Yeah, I got it. I support it.
Did you ever watch the HBO show Girls?
No, I don't think so. We've talked about this.
This whole comment is going to pause here.
Okay.
I saw this TikTok, and I don't know if I agree with it or not, but I thought it was interesting food for thought. The actress who plays Marnie, when the show was first coming out, everyone was like, Marnie's awful. This is an example of like millennial selfishness and like self-centeredness. Like Marnie is like the most insufferable. Now she's an icon because everyone's like, what a self-care, boundary-setting queen. A woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to ask for it and lets them know if you treat her in a way that isn't agreeable. Finally, a woman that isn't getting pushed around. I don't know. I haven't seen the show in forever, but I was like, I could see it.
Because isn't your brother watching it now?
He was. I don't know. You know. They're technically, I think, moving, so I don't know how much joy. Ugh. My poor brother. Some witch put a curse on him, and he's like 100 years old now. He is so excited for his new driveway to be poured because he had to lose his old driveway because of his sewer line repair that had to happen. So they just ripped up the old bad boy, and he's like just so excited for it.
I'm so excited for one day when you settle down and you start having all of these domestic things that you make fun of us for.
So I want to point out two things. First, I have already replaced my sewer line. And two, I'm never gonna settle down.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get married.
No, I say that all the time, which I'm trying not to mention when I go on dates.
So anyway, this is pointless because I don't think I'm ever gonna get married.
It feels like recently it's just all been exercises, and I actually don't think I want this. I think what I wanted was dinner out.
That's so real.
I want a dinner out, or this is, I mean, if you corner me at a party, you know, and get me to tell the truth, which is hard to do. I'll say, I think what I really want is public affirmation that I'm desirable, but then I want to go home alone. And this is when longtime listeners send me pierogi Instagram videos. I told one story like 20 episodes ago, and to this day, I get pierogi videos. And I am incredibly grateful for the pierogi videos. Do you know what I would be more grateful for? Pierogies. We have a P.O. box, and we'll read it off at the end. Someone has sent us macaroons. You can send us frozen pierogies.
It's reparations at this point.
For what? I don't know. They're already listeners. But anyways, how's your day been? Because there's been a lot going on in my world, but let's pause that for a second. How's your day been?
I got hyper fixated on an Excel spreadsheet for about like day 8 in a row now or something. I don't know. It's become my opus magnum or whatever the fuck.
Magnum opus.
Sure.
You were just, you even had the endings right. You just needed to switch it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And then I went to an F45 workout. It's like really the first, I mean, I did a cardio workout when Abby left, but I mean, it was Abby's last day. Like, how serious were we taking it?
Right,
Not really.
Right.
And so I did the first one today, and Casey doesn't do the cardio workouts with me, and so I was convinced I was going to die.
Listen, for all the crap she's rightfully given me about showing up late, this was the first time ever she was like, please actually show up late.
Please be late.
The way you said my body is numb, I was like, oh, that's not good.
I was like, I'm trying to remember how my body is supposed to feel, because it was like, that was the same time I got like the sinus pressure, and so I really just thought I was like losing my mind, and I was trying to navigate King Soopers to pick up my prescription for my many mental health disorders, and then I like also also couldn't really breathe, and it felt like I had water in my ears, and my body felt like just like disgusting. Ooh. If you've ever done HIIT, you know, like there's, even when you do HIIT a lot, there's like a 15 to 20 minute period after you're done with the workout where you like don't really want to eat.
Sure.
Because you're like, you've been moving so much, it's gonna upset your stomach. Yeah. Exactly. And so it was like that, and I was just like, it's gonna pass, it's gonna pass, it's gonna pass. Right? It's gonna pass.
Meanwhile, you keep dragging yourself through this grocery store like a ghost.
Yeah, like a ghost, trying to like, and it was a new pharmacist, and she seemed very nice, but I was just like, I need to leave.
T-shirt cannon these meds into my mouth right now.
That would be really, really great.
Have to move my arms.
And it was just a lot. There was one station where Abby and Maddie and I had this discussion a while ago. This is a question for you. What gym move gives you the ick?
All of it. I don't like going, and I don't like
watching someone else do.
I stand by my answer. Okay, no. What gym move gives me the ick? Mm-hmm. Oof.
It's hard.
The people who drop the weight and then like walk away. That, and
I get it.
I know it's a chemical response to the hormones going through their body, but it makes me laugh. And then I feel bad about laughing. And then I feel self-righteous about my laughter because I'm not shaming myself anymore. And it's just like this whole process.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's probably
it. No,
I'm
that's
not
fair.
a gym person like you are.
I mean, that's fair. I struggle with some of the like heavy lifting moves just because I tend to judge form more often than not, so I don't really get the ick from any of those. It's like the cardio moves that really make me want to vomit, especially watching other people do them. Specifically, F45 has this one cardio move. We didn't do it today, we did something similar, but it was like you get really light weights. And have you ever seen people like practice boxing and they'll use weights to like speed up the their punches? Yeah. So there's stuff like that. But then there's this move when you get really light weights, you squat with the weights kind of in between your feet, and then you jump up like a starfish and do like a jumping jack. And
I love how it's all just 5th grade PE class.
When I tell you I would rather die than do that move, I would rather.
Do they bring out a little parachute that you all lift up together and then sit in?
It's worse. It's weird to do because it doesn't feel right, and it's worse to watch people that already have bad gin form try and do this. I watched one of our coaches try and you're supposed to have a flat back when you squat, like at all times.
Okay.
And this one guy just turtles in on himself all the time. So
they're trying to balance.
Yeah, so watching him do that was like horrifying, and the instructor tried to like correct him like
roly-poly to grasshopper kind of stuff.
I was like, I would rather die. And anyway, today, usually if there's a move like that, I'll just go get the jump rope, and then I don't care anymore. I've been going to this F45 for 2 years. I know where you put stuff. I'll put it back. I'm not fucking around with that move anymore. And today there was a move similar, but it was like a shoulder press with really light weights, but combined with like a jump. So it wasn't like heavyweight. It was just lightweight and just repetitive, like. And
you're jumping a little?
Yeah, and I was like, no.
You're like at your first concert, and you're like, I love that song!
I went and got the fucking jump rope, and Abby's gone, and now I'm self-conscious about all the other trainers. Because they were like, clearly pointed out to each other that I had taken out a jump rope, and I was like, watch me. I've been here longer than both of you. I've been coming to this gym longer than you have been employed.
Your happy hour.
Yeah. I've been coming to this gym longer than you have been employed here. Watch me. Anyway, and then I got paired with this woman who comes to the strength days, so I like know of her. We're like, I don't think we're on a first name basis, but like we acknowledge each other, and she's very nice, but she's like yoked. Like she lifts, of all the women that lift at the gym, she's probably one of the heavier lifters. And so I also know she comes to the cardio. I don't come to the cardio. And so me and my fucking dumbass was like, it's time to prove ourselves.
Good. Healthy, good.
Healthy, yeah. And so I did the ski erg, and I was telling Grant I like am weirdly competitive on just that machine, and then I had to like walk away and like pretend I was going to the bathroom because I like thought I was gonna vomit. And the battle ropes make me want to die, so why not just
They're called battle ropes?
Yeah,
oh, like the big
ropes,
ship ropes or whatever.
That you like. I hate those. Anyway.
So while you're doing whatever that training montage is at F45, I'm out on trails hiking again, and it's like so nice. It's been gorgeous out, but it's also been nice for my little mental health. And I say this because I saw this tweet like 2 years ago, and it was like, it's crazy how bird watching just like creeps into your life as you get older. And I was like, I have literally never once noticed a bird. Like a couple episodes ago, I even was like, it would take 26 owls for me to be like, oh shit, there's a lot of owls right now. Like it would take an obscene hitting them with my car windshield amount of birds for me to notice some stuff. I was on a hike this last weekend, and I got to the top of Green Mountain, and it's at the top of Green Mountain. There's no real trees, which makes it great for the winter.
Yeah.
And there's like this shrubbery, and there's this bird perched up there, and I watch it open its mouth and sing, and then I watch another bird fly across, and I was like, this shit is majestic. I just watched them for 3 minutes, and then I realized I was watching birds, and I was like, I have a hike to do still.
I hope if you're watching on YouTube, you saw the little arm movement Grant just did, because that was David from Schitt's Creek. It was beautiful.
I wanted to say, what am I going to do? Go look at the cherry blossoms by myself like a pervert? But I felt like that required a lot of like social cues. No, but for reals, I like continued on, and I was like, wow, like this is honestly like really grounding, and this is nice, and I feel calm and at peace for the first time ever. And then I came across the deer, and I was like, this is so cool. And then I came across a second deer, which was actually right next to the first deer, but I didn't see because it blended in. Yeah. And then I did it 4 more times. And by the time I got to the 6th deer, I was like, where the hell are all the deer? And I like kept kind of like seeing them, and I was having a hard time.
And they really
like,
just, once you see one, you start seeing all the
but
other
they
ones.
really do blend in.
They
That
do.
gray, especially as like the sun starts to set a little bit, like, and I was like, okay, so there's a lot of deer. The top of this mountain. But it's been good. It's been really good for my mental health lately.
That's so good.
You, we're going to decide later if we keep this or not. But you were like, after this workout, like my whole body was numb, and I was trying to remember what it was like to feel again. And the only thing really that I have to relate to that, it's like when you get back into your car after a date and you've been sucking it in for the last 2 hours, and you finally like exhale and you're like, oh, I gotta pee. And then you gotta like drive home quickly as you like check in with your body for the first time in a while. That is what fair. I could relate to.
Yeah.
That was my little anecdote.
Yeah, my parents, when they moved to Florida, like the first time I visited
parents just
them,
did a tour de force of like bad states to live in.
Yeah.
After this one, they did not get it right. Sorry. No offense to Florida, I'm sure you're great, but we're not Florida
There's very
people.
little chance that they're listening, so I think you're fine.
No, I was not apologizing to your parents.
Oh, you were apologizing to listeners in Florida. Oh, well, my parents aren't in Florida anymore.
I know, they're
either.
in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I stand by what I said.
pretty cute. I don't know.
I said what I said.
Yeah, it's fine. But like the first time I went and visited them in Florida, I hadn't seen them in maybe a month. And when I got there, they had binoculars and like a guide of all the birds in the area. And I was like, what happened?
No, like it really does creep up on you.
Yeah.
The first couple years when I first started to get into hiking, which happened at like 27, 28. You're never too late. At first I was like, must prove that I can hike. And then it was like, must prove that I can hike fast. And now I'm like, I actually kind of want to go see some birds. Like, I have never once picked a hiking trail for bird species in the area. But now I'm like, well, let's get into it.
I could be convinced.
What kind of birds live at alpine level? Because we're getting super close to alpine hike season, and so I'm like, what can I see? And I think they're smaller.
I go to alpine hikes to see the pika and
the pika.
What's the big one?
It gets nice out for 3 weeks, and we become such nature girlies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's nice because I don't feel obligated to do it year round or
agreed.
For 6 months, like ski season.
Also, every time you do a hike and you're kind of dirty and grimy, I feel like I can walk into anywhere and announce to the world that I've done a workout and then order whatever I want.
Exactly. That is the most freeing feeling. Just walking into just the shittiest little diner and be like, I'll take one of everything.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you see the rocks on my shoes right now, but I'll take 4 beers.
Yeah. Can you see the little dirt on
Exactly.
my... Yeah. Just keep them coming.
I have been hiking in my Tivas to try to work on a tan line before a little family vacation in California. Yeah. And 100%. 100%.
I did go through a similar phase with birds like 2 years ago. So I don't know what that says about me.
I'll borrow whatever material you have.
Yeah. I have some bird feeders. I live in the city, y'all.
The place that you live in both doesn't have a place for birds to live, and 2 has been the murder scene of a bird that did land on your house.
So I got one of the like clear bird feeders that like stick to the window. There were at my last apartment, there were a lot of like house finches and stuff, and they were really cute. And I ended up, I had a second.
You lived out in the foothills.
Yeah. No. My last place in Denver.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Golden.
No. I didn't have the money when I lived there.
For bird feeders?
No, there was also so many other. Here, I don't need to worry about like squirrels stealing it.
Sure.
In like Golden, you would. But yeah, that bird feeder saw a lot of really cute little birds, and I got a little security camera that would record them for me, so it would send me a notification when there was a bird at the bird feeder, and then it would like record a little bit. It was really cute. Anyway, the place that we live now doesn't have those same finches. It mainly has pigeons, and so the bird feeder's up on the roof where the pigeons are. But I did see some house finches the other day, so I might.
You know how I feel about pigeons, right?
Do you like them or dislike them?
Pigeons.
Yeah, okay. I love them too.
Yeah,
I'm scared for their lives up there because Casey, I went up there for the first time this season to like tan and read and like, photosynthesize because I'm depressed.
Again, we become such nature girlies after 3 weeks of sunshine. We're like, I was always raised outside.
Yeah. I've lived out here. And then Casey was like, oh, I don't think the pigeons are there anymore. You can bring the dogs up. And I was like, I don't want to deal with the dogs while they're up there. And he's like, well, the pigeons aren't there anymore. So like, if you want to, you don't have to worry about it. I was up there. The dogs were not with me. And I did see a pigeon go under the deck. So I was like, the dogs are never allowed up here again. Those pigeons are holding on to that nest. It's insane.
You're doing good work for the city. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm gonna take my bird feeder out and put it down here for the little finches I saw.
I need to do some yard work. It keeps raining, which is nice, except the like patch of dirt that qualifies as my backyard is just weed city, and so there's so many weeds back there that I have to mow down. But my perennial flowers keep blooming. So we had tulips, and then they died. Petals fell off. And then came lilacs. That's been beautiful. Now we're in the irises, and my peonies are just about to bloom. The buds are like bursting. And then I forget I have a little wild rose bush in the corner of my yard because I've tried to kill it twice because it's growing out of a cinder block. And it won't die. Like, I have literally, with my dad, taken a chainsaw to it and, like, cut it off at its stem. And then it, like, didn't come back for a year. And I was like, got it. And then it came back stronger than ever. I'm sure it's, like, some beautiful analogy. But really, it's just, like, a really thick, like... What's it called? Thorny bush. There we go. And, like, a non-opportune part of my yard.
And there's, like, no, like, rabbits or squirrels or anything to eat it. There's, So I've been killing all my houseplants recently.
Not on purpose. You're not mad at them. You're not,
no, it's just...
where is she? You're not interviewing them.
No. I've just been like, in college, the year that I lived in my college house after I graduated, I got really into tropical plants because what else do you do? And so I had a lot of plants. I had like an app that told me like exactly what to do in the morning and in the evening. And so I took really good care of them. And now I am left with the aftermath of that decision, which is like... my plants that stay alive really easily are kind of alive, and the other ones are hanging on. And so Abby, when she left, was like, do any of you guys want my houseplants? And I was like, I can't handle the ones that I have. But with love, I hope the best for them. But she was like talking about Maddie wanted a snake plant. And so Abby and I were like, absolutely do the snake plant. You cannot kill a snake plant.
Right.
Like, I can't kill my snake plant. I don't know how. And Abby brought up the meme that was like, there's like an audio and it's like, the first sound is like, I need my nice little bed set up here and it has to be perfectly soft. And then the second audio is like, fuck yeah, concrete!
Yes! One, I love the fact that episode 3 of The Hill We Die On is an actual discussion of hills and plants. I think that's hilarious. Two, I went over to a new friend's house recently, and I was like, oh my god, everything in here is dead. And he was like, oh yeah, I guess that it is. And I was like, it is actually a like horror show of dead plants here. And so the second time that I went over, he pointed out like a live plant that he had gotten, and had also replaced a lot of them with just plastic plants, which made sense because like sunlight is an important thing to think about when placing plants.
Yes.
But that did mean there was a closet somewhere where they were just like
dead plants.
The bodies of these dead plants had just been shoved into.
Yeah, I have that in the basement, or I did for a while.
In your garage?
Yeah, in my garage. where I keep all my plant stuff.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Other big news. This was our last day of school with all the students. It is fun. It doesn't feel like the last day yet because we still will have some kids coming in for academic support tomorrow before grades are truly finalized. And then Friday, us teachers still have to show up for staff closeout. And in years past, staff closeout has been like a half day for me. This year, I might just be going for a potluck breakfast.
That's good.
Everything has been stripped from my walls. Everything has been wiped down. Everything is locked away.
You're like, bye.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we watched The Great Debaters and like did homework for the last 3 days. So I had the time to take posters in. And new teachers, you probably have learned this lesson because your Friday is coming up and this is now posted in the middle of June. So it's too late for you to listen to this advice. But next year, take down those posters early, babes. Take down those posters. There's no greater way of increasing a sense of urgency amongst your own students than to start closing up shop, you know? It is the restaurant equivalent of turning up the volume, turning on the lights.
That's, Closing time.
Exactly.
The episode of The
All aboard, passing train, leaving in one day. All aboard.
The episode of The Office where Andy starts to tries to start an evening ritual for them by singing Closing Time.
What?
It's like one of the later seasons.
Okay, I was gonna say, I do not remember this.
Yeah, it's because when Andy's manager and he just comes in, he turns on the radio and he starts pretend wiping things down while singing Closing Time. And there's two funny things that happen. Three. One, it's clear that everyone hates it.
Right.
Two, he goes up to Pam and tries to get her to sing a verse. And she's like, Andy's been doing this for 4 months now.
Oh my God.
And I still don't know the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then the third funny thing that happens is Stanley, of all people, just boom, opens the door and sings the last verse. He's
That's
I didn't
cute.
know that song before Andy started doing this. It's my favorite song now.
I can see that. Stanley's a whole song about leaving work. That tracks for his character.
I love Stanley. Did I tell you about when I met him?
No, but 1 second.
Oh, perfect.
I need to talk about one last story about closing time at the school, student academics and such like that. I had a student everything about this is going to stay as anonymous as possible, so that way I can tell you the tea as to what happened, okay? Children had to write an essay in my class, as us teachers are ought to do sometimes.
Yes.
And the student turns the paper in, and I read first sentence, and I'm like, okay. So I read the second sentence, I'm like, okay. Read the third sentence, I'm like, okay. Read the fourth sentence, I'm like, oh. They didn't write this. So you do the teacher thing, which is you select the paragraph or just a chunk, and then you put it into Google because it'll pull up the first article because it's a near perfect match from its algorithm. And so I do that and nothing turns up. And I'm like, that's weird. And before you come for me, yes, I absolutely believe in this child and that they have the ability to write that way. Yeah. But the first two sentences and the third and fourth sentence were not written by the same person. And so then I'm like, what could it be? Oh, so I go to an AI detector and I punch it in. 98% AI generated. The first two sentences were what the kid had written. And then
just to throw you off?
No. I think even worse. I think had started it
and
at the end of
second.
Yeah. No, I love how generous you are. And I'm only saying this because of conversations I didn't have with them. I think they did the first two sentences and were like, I actually don't want to do this anymore. And then just AI generated the rest of the content. It's legitimately, I think they got two sentences in. They were like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And then just AI generated the rest of it. And I grabbed the kid the next day and I go, you're not able to get credit on that paper. You're gonna have to redo it, and I need you to do it this time. And this kid goes, what are you talking about? Which, good, yes, never confess to a crime until you have been charged with an actual crime. Good, you've learned something. And then I just turn my computer over, and it has the AI detector, and it says 98% AI generated. And he goes, okay. And then he comes in after school to get academic support. Again, good, yes, awesome.
Yes.
I believe in you, child. And he's typing a little bit, and he goes, Mister, do I really have to rewrite the whole thing? And I go, well, you didn't actually write it. And so you actually get the chance to write it. And I'm actually being super cool about this right now.
Yeah,
actually,
you could get expelled
correct,
for shit like this.
or at least like zero, no makeup opportunity. You're a young person.
Yeah.
And I am making sure that this is like a learning experience and that, you know, the shame and like the I was caught is like enough to make you not have to do this again. But you just need to do it. And I actually have no sympathy for you at all.
No.
Whatsoever. And I'm usually a nice guy, but I'm like, you gotta do it.
You fucked it.
You had the time.
Oh
You did the
God.
time. So we had a couple of students. I have, 150 students. We had a handful who, after that experience, just every single one went through an AI detector. And then, you would find some kids who were at like 35%. And then like mid-sentence, it just started to autofill in. And so that's been a really fun experience. But
I hate that.
yes and no. It's actually, in a way, like, so funny, because there's always this moment where the kid is initially like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you have to
have the
physically
receipts,
present Exhibit A, and then like the whole gig is up right away. Like sometimes like they'll just see that and they'll be like, do I still have time to make corrections? And I go, you do until
good.
grade book closes on Thursday.
Oh my God.
So anyways, it's been a weird day, but it's been good.
That is absolutely wild. The like absolute delusion I was living in college when I would like submit a paper on like Canvas or Blackboard or whatever, and it would like have the like plagiarism detector or something, and I would be like, I didn't copy any of this, but a lot of it's math.
Hopefully I am getting the same answer as a lot of other people.
It would be like plagiarism 12%, and I'd be like, okay, we're good.
We can work that.
Yeah.
I would love for us to jump into our first story.
Let's do it.
We think so? Yeah, we've gabbed for half the episode now, I think so.
That's fine.
Okay, so this is going to be not a surprise because I will have emailed them afterwards, but this person has not actually heard from us yet, but reading their story today, it's so funny.
And the stories Grant's reading are gonna be listener episodes from you guys, or listener stories from you guys for In the Bag.
Yes. It's going to be In the Bag, Hill We Die On. The one before that, which was...
I don't know.
Right. It's just a bunch of listener episodes, but they've all been fantastic so far. I don't have...
Oh, before we get started, do you want to announce the next theme?
You want me to do that right now?
Yeah.
Cool. Our next theme is going to be Friend or Foe.
Nice. We'll announce it again at the end in case you're like skipping.
I took a while to settle on the story that I want to do, but then found it, and then found actually the story that I want to do, and then I was able to come up with the theme. So
Okay.
It's all right. This is me burning time because the person that we're going to talk about, the person who sent us a story, we're going to call her Jane, but she does have she, her, hers as her pronouns in her email.
Yeah.
Yes, I just don't see a specific spot where we say use my name. So Jane, from the Jane Doe variety. Okay, so here we go. Okay.
Yes.
Do y'all want to hear about the time I accidentally evaded arrest?
Yes, I do. Immediately, yes.
Immediately, yes. Hi, Grant and Maya. Hope you're doing well. Love the pod. All that fun stuff. Thank you. You guys are always like, anyways, just skip that part. Don't skip that part. That's like one of our favorite parts.
You can email us without praising us. I'll read it. Grant will probably be heartbroken or something.
Yeah, I'll read it too, but I feel like you're all like, I know you hate it. We don't. It's like the phrase when you get an invite and it says no gifts.
Yeah.
But it actually means no gifts.
Yeah, no gifts.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, love the podcast, all that fun stuff. And then in parentheses, I'm hyper aware of not creating too many sidebars before the story actually starts. Okay, come for us, Jane.
Ouch. Goddamn.
Okay, so I don't know if this fits into any theme, and you definitely haven't asked for this, but I figured you might get a giggle out of it. Lord knows my friend and family do. So it's kind of perfect for this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jane. Before I can start the story, indulge me while I get the scene laid out for you.
Yeah.
It's 2015. I'm a 5'10", 16-year-old girl who recently got a pixie cut.
Nice.
I kid you not, I showed my mom's hairdresser that one picture of Anne Hathaway from Les Mis. I've never seen Les Mis.
Make me a French prostitute.
Make me a French prostitute now. Also, that haircut was like intentionally poorly cut to show the like depredation of her situation. And she's like, money for this.
I want to be in the mind of the hairdresser, like, you could do that.
Money's money,
Yeah.
you know? Also, let's do a quick time check. So she's a 16-year-old in 2015. I guess, fortunately, I'm like 22 in 2015. How old are you?
2015, I was 16 going on 17.
So you were literally in her exact time frame
Yeah,
as well.
because I turned 18 in 2016.
You're going to love some of the references we have coming for you then. Okay, so she has a haircut that looks like the prostitute from Les Mis.
Yeah.
I have thin rectangle glasses and an affinity for infinity scarves.
Oh, no.
Both spoke correctly. Well done, Jane. It's winter break, and I've been invited, or I invited myself, the details get a little fuzzy, to go to a skate nation to go laser tagging with other kids in my sophomore theater class. Jane, we are so glad we found you.
I love that.
Not only, like, would we have hung out with you if we were friends at the time, like,
I would have gone
did
laser
hang out
tagging with you.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been in that laser tag group.
Legitimately,
Yeah.
you know, the story about my friend Sam, who I showed up a week early, but also 2 hours late. First time we ever hung out, laser tag. Yeah. And then that's how we became Facebook friends.
Laser tag is really the unifying front for American youth.
It's like, I don't really know you, but what if we were in the dark, like kind of shooting at each other for a little bit? Like, what if we just went anywhere where our parents would drop us off?
I mean, that's true. I just remember the first few times I went laser tagging. Looking back on it, it was my ADHD or my touch of the tisms. I hate when the vest vibrates. It drives me nuts. And it also just like that weird competitive side of me that's like adding fuel to the fire of just like, you just got hit, ha 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 ha, while vibrating on me. I hated it. I wanted to do nothing more than find a like safe place to hide and shoot people from a little peephole, and I would get so mad when people would find me, but my dumbass hadn't moved in 20 minutes.
Right, and you're glowing, because every time you get shot, you glow a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
I'm surprised that the weight of the vest didn't comfort you a little bit, to be completely honest.
I do like the weight of the vest. Like, the vest itself doesn't bother me. It's the vibrating that bugs me.
Fascinating.
The noise doesn't bother me either. It's the vibrating.
Do you enjoy laser tag?
Now I do.
Okay.
Now I've gotten over some things. And I'm on medication.
Or able to talk about it out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so she's hanging out with other sophomores in her sophomore theater class. And as a treat for recently getting my license, or because my parents didn't want me to drive 30 minutes away to drop me off and then drive back again, I was allowed to borrow my dad's old car and the ability to drive myself. The car was as old as I am, and it was silver. Sidebar, because I'm sorry, but this is important. Not to the story, but to me. This is what she wrote. Not to the story, but to me. The car was silver. For some unknown reason, my parents are convinced that it was gold. I don't know why. They're trying to gaslight my siblings and I, but we literally named the car the Silver Surfer, so it was definitely not gold. This has caused family fights for almost 10 years because they won't see reason or the car's color. Jane, this is great so far.
Oh my god.
Okay, so cut to me driving myself to the plans that it actually maybe wasn't invited to, and I merge onto I-95. For non-East Coast folks, this is a huge interstate highway that goes from Key West all the way up to Maine. But it's huge because, but this is also a huge moment because this is my first time driving on the highway alone.
Oh, that's terrifying.
As I'm driving along, minding my own business, I see a speed limit sign for 55 miles per hour. And because I'm anxious, I slowed to 50 miles per hour because, again, it's my first time on the highway alone.
Yeah, you don't want to get...
pull over. No. It's also important to note that I'm in the leftmost lane.
All right, you fucked it.
After a mile or so, a cop car starts driving behind me. No lights, no sirens, just driving. So I do what any anxious 16-year-old with an Anne Hathaway haircut would do. Any guesses what that is? Yep, you're right. I slow down even more.
No.
To like maybe 45 miles per hour.
That'll get you pulled over.
Yeah, as if to say, hello, officer. I see you, and look how responsible I am being.
Look how respectful I am.
Furthest most lane, somewhere on the East Coast where no one goes the speed limit, and she's going 10 under the posted speed limit.
Oh, you're going to get, yeah.
Second sidebar, and this one is actually important to the story. So my dad had assumed that I'd be like any other 16-year-old and speed while driving. So he purposely didn't tell me that the silver car had a broken speedometer, which would display a speed limit about 5 miles faster than you were actually going.
So she was actually going 40?
Yes. So to recap, I'm driving in the leftmost lane on I-95 in front of a cop driving 40 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone.
Oh my gosh.
After a few minutes of driving, the cop turns on his lights and starts blipping the sirens at me while making eye contact with me through the rearview mirror and pointing to the right. In hindsight, he's trying to tell me to pull over on the right.
Oh no.
I just want to point out.
I'm so worried for you.
Listen, I love this in so many ways. It's relatable.
Yeah.
The one time I had a girlfriend in high school, I know. She went to a school at a smaller town outside of my town. It was only about like a 35-minute drive, which by Nebraska standards isn't bad.
Yeah.
But you had to go on a 2-lane highway. That's 1 lane each direction. Little 2-lane highway to get there. Yeah. And my dad, being, I don't know, the comforter that he is like, I want you to know, Grant, that road, one of the deadliest roads in this county. So I want you to drive extra slow. And I'm doing all this for a girlfriend I don't even want. I just like the excuse. There legitimately is a moment where I was like, it can't be worth death, right?
Yeah.
All the deer and drunk drivers and stuff. Anyways, so I feel this girl of like the terror of driving.
Yeah, 100%.
My parents had me convinced that the only reason semis were on interstates was to drive drivers off the road. Was just like Mad Max Fury Road style pushing you over. And I've worked through that. It is terrifying. And what's also, I'm sure, kind of terrifying, I don't think my parents ever intended to do that. I think they said one thing to me
and then
one
you took
time.
it as truth.
Right, that went straight through the filter and just immediately planted itself.
Yep. My version of this story is that I was so terrified not of the cops or the speed limit. I used to go swing dancing in Denver on Sunday nights, and there's a curfew in Colorado for minors. Right. And for some reason, my parents were like the only parents, aside from all the other Asian parents, that were like adamant that I be home at that curfew.
By that curfew? What time was that curfew?
On Sunday through Thursday, it was 11.
Someone should tell the entire West Side.
Yeah, and then I think on weekends, but that didn't include Sunday, unfortunately. So like Friday, Saturday, it was like midnight or something like that. But so I had to be home by 11, and of course I love to push that boundary because all my friends are still out swing dancing, and this music doesn't stop until like midnight or something. So I'm like pushing that, and I need like 20 minutes to get home, and I do not give myself 20 minutes to get home. And so, yes, I'm scared of authority. What am I scared more of? My mother.
Yes, you're
my mother and father. My mother. And so I'm speeding. It was actually very close to here. I'm not going to triangulate myself. But it was like right before an on-ramp to the highway. Okay. I did not notice that the speed limit was 35 and I was going 50 and it happens in slow motion. It's also like down a hill, so it's very deceiving, and like there's all the signs like for the highway, so it's almost like you're like ready to get on the highway. And so it happened in slow motion that I see the like little speed thing on the side that's like blinking at me, telling me to slow down, and then I see a cop pull out of the gas or like get ready to turn out of the gas station, and I'm like, maybe he's off duty, and then he turns his sirens on.
He's absolutely not off duty.
He pulls me off on the on-ramp to the highway, and I'm like
clearly about to take off.
Yeah, and I'm like, sir, it is 5 minutes till curfew now.
You can give me a ticket, but you have to tell my Asian mom why I'm not home right now.
And then I was so stressed I took the wrong exit, and so I ended up going on like I-25 North or something instead of I-70 West. And I had to call my dad, and I was like sobbing because I was like so stressed and scared, and he was like, just get home.
Why are you talking to us right now?
Anyway, I feel you, just in a different way. I wasn't slowing down.
We
were
for
the cops.
All the theater class kids.
Yeah.
So what do? Convince myself that he's not talking to me, but is actually warning me that another car is speeding in the right lane next to me. I feel like I don't even have to mention it, but the road is practically empty.
Oh no!
Because it's 2 p.m. on a weekday. There is no other car. Honestly, until now, I can argue that I haven't actually been in the wrong yet. Am I going slow? Yes, but we're all safe. No harm, no foul. But what did I do next is 100% on me, and I have no excuse. I begin sobbing and slow down even more, as if to prove I'm not a threat. And then just in parentheses, question mark? That I'm not a threat. I don't know it, but I'm actually going 35 miles per hour.
Oh my God.
Still in the left lane and refusing to pull over.
This is the slowest fucking police chase on the planet.
The cop is fully blaring sirens and lights at this point, but I'm too busy crying and freaking out about getting a ticket to pull over. Picture like O.J. Simpson car chase. It's honestly pretty accurate, and it's the same speed. I was driving while technically evading arrest. I didn't pull over for 4 miles, and she's going 35 miles per hour. To not pull over for 4 miles on like a regular interstate speed is 4 minutes of ignoring, but that's like a 20-minute.
Yeah, that's so long.
Okay. When I finally do pull over on the left shoulder.
Oh my God.
And I'm greeted by a really mad cop who said the only reason he didn't call for backup was because I looked hysterical. Because
he's close enough to be able to see you in your rearview mirror.
She goes, because I looked hysterical, parentheses, which felt mean.
Yeah.
And because I was 16, I had to hand him my paper license.
No.
Because my real one didn't arrive in the mail yet. Which, honestly, thank God for the photo on that first license, featuring glasses, hair, and an infinity scarf, was awful. I'm 25, and my mom still insists on keeping it because it's such a bad photo.
That's an iconic mom right there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
because I'm still crying, he tells me to call my mom so he can talk to an adult. I dial and give him my cell phone, but the volume is loud enough that I can hear my mom at the other end. At first, she sounds pissed when he says I was pulled over, but when he explains that I was pulled over for driving too slow, she begins loudly laughing at him. Which cops love.
Yeah.
To which he responds by telling her to stop laughing or he'll put me in juvenile detention, and starts listing all of the technically illegal things I did.
Technically illegal.
Which,
okay.
yes, made me cry even more.
Yeah. Hearing you might be sent to juvie
because your mom's laughing at a cop
driving under the speed limit
and evaded arrest.
Okay, I mean, kind of.
After he hangs up, another cop comes by to see what the issue is, and once he heard what happened, looks at me and my infinity scarf, he doubles over in laughter. Literally holding on to the highway median divider as he laughs. This, as I bet you can guess, makes me cry even more.
Oh, that's poor cop.
Just sobbing.
Yeah.
Strangely though, I didn't get a ticket. He just told me to go home, and that was that. And yes, I did go laser tagging, but gathered some strange looks because I was so red and puffy from crying. So yeah, that's how I evaded arrest, but somehow didn't get in trouble. It's funny now. Love that reference.
Yes, it is.
But at the time, I thought I was going to juvenile detention. Thanks, Jane. Not her real name. She, her, hers.
That's so funny.
Really well done. Just really.
Also, that was just very well written.
Yes.
The comedy was good. Comedy gold. I have a funny story about my aunt.
Yes.
She definitely doesn't listen. If she does, I'm going to hear about it later. My aunt and uncle are well off. They don't have kids.
Right.
They own like shopping centers on the East
These
Coast.
are the ones with the pets who live better than I do.
Yes, who live very well. And they have 2 cars each. They have their normal car, and then they also have their like luxury car. So my uncle has as his regular car, at least when I was over there, which has been a while, so I don't know if it's still the case, but he had like a GMC SUV that was very nice. And then his fancy car was a baby blue custom convertible Bentley.
Oh.
Yes.
Baby blue too.
It was gorgeous.
It's kinda hot.
It is gorgeous. Yeah. He'll send selfies still of him driving around their little like town in Connecticut, and it's very sweet. My aunt has a Land Rover as her main car. and a Land Rover SUV, and then her other car is a Maserati.
Oh.
And apparently when she got the Maserati, they have a house in Rhode Island, and there's a bridge that connects Rhode Island, or connects Jamestown to Newport. And so she was going over that bridge, and it's a toll bridge, so you have to go through the toll booth, and then there's like a bunch of lanes that narrow down into 2 lanes. And so everyone gets out of the toll booth, and then if you like happen to leave at the same time, you're kind of like in this weird race thing.
Right.
And I was in the car with her when we were, I don't remember what we were doing, but there was like a Kia or something, and we were in the Maserati, and it was clear the Kia was trying to beat us onto like our respective lane, and she just went, "Oh honey, I'm in a Maz," and like
and just zoom
floored it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And then she told me this other story. I was like, "Oh my god." You're amazing and my role model now. And she told me this story about the first time she like wanted to see how fast the Maz went. She took it on the highway, and she was like, no one was around, and she was like, I just kind of wanted to see.
Stretch her legs.
I just wanted to see what she could do. And so she like, I guess like floors it.
Zoom.
And then gets pulled over. And the cop pulls her over, and she's like, she's so kind. Like, you just meet her and you're like, you would not hurt a fly.
Well, and it doesn't sound like she's sweating the financial impact of a speeding ticket either.
So the cop pulls her over, she goes over, and then the cop's like, ma'am, do you know how fast you were going? And she's just like, no.
Did he clock it?
I don't remember if she remember. I think it was close to 100, if not over 100. But she didn't get a ticket because it was just like, she was like, I just wanted to see.
I wanted just to see. I wanted to go fast. I wanted to feel something. It reminds me of one of my favorite little political sayings.
Yeah.
If the punishment for breaking a law is a fine, then it's only illegal for the poor.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Do you have a story for us?
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay, so I'm just going to read the one listener thing and then the Reddit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this comes from, so this person didn't give permission to use their name or their pronouns, and their name is very ambiguous, so I'm not sure. Give me a name that the gender.
Feminine sounding or genderless?
Genderless name.
Taylor.
Okay. This is from our friend Taylor, not real name. And I also don't know their pronouns. But this is just a really short thing. This isn't really even a story, but it was one of the stories we got for The Hills We Die On. They say, I love the pod and love this theme. Can't wait to hear the episode. I don't have any specific things coming to mind with this theme at the moment. However, one of my favorite sayings is a mashup I made of 2 different sayings. The hill I'm willing to die on and don't make a mountain out of a molehill. And so my favorite saying is, this is a molehill I'm willing to die on.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, and I hope that you appreciate this saying and think it's as funny as I do, because we all have the molehills we are willing to die on. And if you don't think it was funny, well, I laughed.
Oh, that's actually a really clever email, and I'm obsessed.
So what is the molehill you would die on?
Oh gosh, I really did work during the pandemic to, as I like to say, like ground down a lot of my molehills, and I'm trying to be more agreeable. Although for who, I don't know.
I don't
or
know
for
either.
Why,
yeah.
I also don't know. Sweetened iced coffee is bad, and I will not be drinking it.
My molehill was gonna be that creamer is always too sweet in coffee.
I'd be laughing harder if my sinuses were actually in so much pain right now. I was, and I'm never this way. I'm never a diva.
Oh my God.
But someone brought me an iced coffee, which isn't a cold brew, because a cold brew never comes with sweetener in it.
Yeah.
And at least at Starbucks, you have to ask for iced coffee not to have sweetener in it.
Yeah.
And they give it to me, and it was so sweet. I like kind of like, oh my gosh, thanks so much. And then I like brought it to the room that I was working in, and then like just couldn't drink it. I don't like the sugar, and so I'm willing to say, I'm willing to die on that molehill. I think I'm not gonna drink it.
I am pretty willing to die on the fact that nice coffee is ruined by creamer, especially.
So are you putting it in half and half? Or are you just putting in whole cream? Are you
If I'm
avoiding
doing-
the creamer industrial complex completely?
I used to be a big fan of hazelnut creamer when I was
A child. Sorry.
when I was a summer camp counselor. So yeah, but now it's like I can't handle creamer really at all.
Sure.
Like any kind of creamer. Like if you get nice coffee, I'll only ever put creamer if it's like not great coffee, but black coffee is superior. And if you can't drink black coffee, I don't know that we can be friends.
I agree. I don't think you're edgy. I don't think you're street.
And if you drink creamer in your coffee, except for you, I love you.
I don't know what kind of trauma response it is, but my dad loves sweet things so much. Oh, he's like a sugar fanatic. My dad, I've said this before, keeps like the national stockpile of peppermint ice cream in our freezer, and he will buy so much of it during the holiday season. Not to eat at once. It's not like my dad has like 4 bins of it open around him, but like he just enjoys like 2 scoops in the evening, but buys so much of it that I think he's made it to like September before he's ran out. So he just loves Little Sweet, and Griffin and I my younger brother, have definitely picked up on that too. Like if it gets close to the evening, like a little voice in the back of my mind's like, "Get Sonic," you know?
Yes.
So I have seen my dad, I mean, obviously a man like that, you can imagine the coffee he's drinking. Yes. I have seen my dad pour coffee into a cup, and by the time he's done pouring creamer in it, it's no longer steaming. My dad has instantly cooled down cups of coffee for like much of his life. And this is also where I get it from, for the record, like my stubbornness. Obviously, for years we made fun of our dad for that, right? Like that's such low-hanging fruit. And he has never changed. And I think, honestly, if anything, has increased the amount of creamer that he has put into his coffees. He just likes what he likes, and he's a man that has worked hard his entire life. So yeah, if he wants a cup of fucking sugar at 7 in the morning while the rest of us are still asleep, he's gonna do it. He's gonna sit and then shake the rest of the day.
There's an episode of The Office. I want you to know before I say this, my brain finished that "shake for the rest of the day" quote as "shake like a chihuahua for the rest of the day," and now I can't get the image out of my head.
A little bit. Dad always likes to say he has a motor going, you know? And I'm like, that actually might be untreated anxiety, but I've never said that to him.
Doesn't he listen?
Yes, yeah. Well, so here's actually the very funny thing. My dad, before he retired, drove around a lot for his work. Oh, so
he had a lot of time to listen.
And I think he really did enjoy the presence of like his son with him, like on his. But now that my dad doesn't really have a lot of places to go, Griffin shared a story the other day. He goes, "Yeah, I came home from work and Dad was in my living room," which is like kind of cute and funny and cool. But Griffin lives in a different town an hour away, and Dad was there to work on something at the house with him.
That's really funny.
So he did it, and then Dad just kind of kicked it for a little bit more. He goes, "At one point, Dad and I drank beers on the front steps together." Mom was out of town.
Oh, I love that.
You were going to say something about The Office.
Oh, The Office. There's an episode during the few episodes where Michael Scott Paper Company is a thing, and they're like out for a delivery and they have to get up super early, and Pam asks Michael, like, "Michael, do you have any coffee by chance?" And he like passes back his thermos and he's like, "Milk and sugar." And so she drinks it and she's like, "Is this just milk and sugar?" And he went, "Yep." I drink it every morning.
That is my dad.
Yeah.
When my parents used to come out and visit, I mean, they still do, but in the early days when they'd come out and visit me in Colorado, I would buy creamer for them, because of course I do not keep it in the house. I don't keep milk in the house.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense for you.
But then they'd be gone, and they'd be like half a thing of creamer left, so then I would make White Russians with it. Oh, and now increasingly, my parents just get nice enough creamer that they just actually travel with it.
So now you're like, well... Okay.
My parents just are like, to them, they're Midwesterners, so it just makes sense to drive 7 hours to their son. Like, why fly? You know, like you could just drive and then you could be in charge of everything, you know? And my mom can hotspot it from the car so she can work. And my dad likes driving. And so my parents have actually never visited my house ever and not brought a cooler with them.
I love that.
They're very nice.
That's so wholesome. Do you have any other molehills you would die on?
Other molehills I'm willing to die on. Oh, yeah. Although this feels much bigger than a molehill in my own mind. All professions deserve a summer break. I do not know how or why. Maybe actually why. I do not know why you guys are working 12 months a year, other than the fact that, like, you have to.
Honestly, the European, or the French specifically, got it right.
Yes!
Man, like, they take an entire month off, and that feels appropriate. Like, that feels like a professional summer break.
Like, everyone's like, Grant, like, oh my gosh, listening to the podcast. How are you? Like, so happy. And it's like, I still get snow days and after school snack
You're
and
still a
2
child.
months off.
Yeah.
What do you mean, how? So that's a molehill, but it feels bigger. It feels policy oriented. What's your second molehill?
My second molehill, I was between 2. One of them is just, I don't think it's actually a molehill. I think it's just like the patriarchy. There's a person in Casey and I's life who I cannot stand. And they like to be low-key misogynistic, but like act dumb enough to be like, I don't know. And if you like try and have a conversation with them, they like double down and triple down and quadruple down. And no, I don't think you've met them.
Okay. I even hid my mouth from the camera. I was like, let me know.
No. I didn't even know what name you said. I just know that you have not met this person. We wouldn't bring them around.
Well, thank you for letting me guess anyways.
You're welcome. We played this game. We played What's the Vibe?
I love that game.
Yeah, and so Casey loved it so much that he bought it. And so it's like you get an x-axis and a y-axis, and then you pull 2 cards that define what those ranges are. And then the person who's going pulls a card that says something. And I think this one it could be anything like drinks at dinner or something like that.
Okay.
And then you put the entire group just tries to guess where this one person lies on this
like the spectrum
arbitrary
of it all.
spectrum of it. And then if you're like within a certain range of what they actually pick, you get the team gets points. Right. I think the topic was like performing a cappella or something like that. And one of the spectrums was like big dick energy. One of the axes was big dick energy, and he was adamant that is little dick energy. And I was like, get up, sing. Do it. And he was like, well, that's different. And I was like, okay, so do it.
I love it when you have a nemesis. I love it when you have a little enemy that you can kind of like toil away at.
I love playing.
So what's your molehill?
Oh, just that like doing things that are emotionally vulnerable aren't actually like shitty little things to do, but that's a mountain.
Listen, as a teacher, I'm like, okay, love that. Your supporting example needs more linkings to your claim. You gave us a really great anecdote and then expected the reader to make a jump.
I wasn't. I wasn't expecting anyone to make that jump. The other actual molehill, I think, is that Wuthering Heights is the stupidest book that has ever been published.
Written by one of the Bronte sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hear me out, though.
I had to take an English content test recently, so I have so much useless information right now.
So there's 3 Bronte sisters, from my understanding, right? They all wrote books, I think. I love Jane Eyre.
I love where this conversation is right now, by the way.
I think Jane Eyre was written by Charlotte Bronte.
I think so, because isn't there an Emily Bronte?
Emily Bronte, I think, wrote Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
Let's see, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and then Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Yep. Yeah. I don't remember all of the details to this. I was very adamant about this when I had to read both in like my senior year AP literature class.
Sure.
The author of Wuthering Heights actually died before the book got published.
Oh, okay.
And Charlotte Bronte, the one who wrote Jane Eyre, had to go in and like
edit it.
And so a lot of it isn't even Emily Bronte's work.
Right.
And Charlotte Bronte actually, I think the original foreword she wrote for the book was like, it's my sister.
So it's not Emily's work, and it's not Charlotte's idea, and it's out there.
Yeah, it's the stupid, I fucking hate it.
What an AP English nerd of a molehill to stay on.
I hate that book so much. I think
really
it's
know
so
what
dumb.
it's about.
It's just like, have you read Jane Eyre?
No.
Okay. It's like, no, it's just like a classic.
Oh, you told me the plot. It's terribly sad, and then it ends.
Yeah. But it's happy at the end. Kind of.
Isn't one of them blind, and haven't they burnt down a house?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is like
gotcha.
a classic like gothic romance, but it's like the woman is just so much of like a damsel in distress. She like can't handle it, and everyone's just so dramatic. It's like not even believable for the time that it was written in. Yeah, exactly. At some point, someone jumps into a grave to cuddle with their dead spouse or something, and I just can't handle it. Anyway, that's my other molehill.
These are huge molehills.
Reddit.
I've hiked up smaller molehills.
The coffee one's a good one. Anyway.
We have a Reddit story.
Here's a Reddit story. Casey picked this. I haven't read it except for the title. Am I the asshole for having my in-laws escorted off of my property?
I love this. I love family drama.
I do too. And Casey picked this and was like, do the second one. Grant will think it's funny. Okay, I mean, I'll think it's funny too, but whatever. Okay.
He's trying to impress me.
I know.
He hasn't seen me all day.
I know. It's like Monet. Okay, so my 39 male husband, or my 39 male husband, 39 male, so they're both 39 and both male.
So they're a gay couple.
Yeah, they're a gay couple. I was just confused. I was like, did they write it the same time twice? No. Okay. I always get confused when they
Especially
write it
if
like
the age
this.
is the same.
Well,
Yeah.
they also say like my parentheses age and it feels like it should be attached to the husband, but it's
Right, it's attached to the my.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the Ela thing.
I don't get it. Okay. And I were together for 10 years and married for 7 before he unexpectedly died last year.
This is a ha-ha funny one?
I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Before and throughout our marriage, his parents never really liked me. I have no proof of this, but I think it was because he was bi and I robbed them of their chance for him to marry a woman and have children. Despite how they felt about me, I was not only always cordial to them, but I allowed them to use my 2 lake houses for whenever they wanted.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
That's what it's like to be dual income, no kids. Babes.
They're a dink, I'm a sink.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Whenever they wanted. The first lake house was owned by my parents since before my brothers and I were born. The second lake house was purchased by my brothers and I when the original owner decided to sell. The houses are right next to each other and perfect for large family gatherings. During our time together, my husband's family celebrated holidays and extended weekends at the houses. And it was never an issue because I was at almost each of these getaways.
Right, part of the family.
Yeah. Recently, my husband's youngest brother got engaged, and I knew his family would be throwing him and his fiancée a party like they did for all of their other kids, except for my husband and I. But we didn't have a big ceremony or anything, so I can't prove the lack of party had anything to do with me. I mean, it seems a little suspicious. I also expected an invitation because I was incredibly friendly with the youngest brother, having gone to many sporting events and concerts with him, but no one ever mentioned anything about a party. And when I finally asked the parents, I was told that they weren't doing anything big.
Okay.
Fast forward to last Monday, and I got a text from one of the neighbors at the lake asking if I'd be joining the family for the party. Come to find out, the whole family was at the lake houses with guests and had been for that entire weekend to celebrate the engagement. At first, I wasn't bothered by not being there, but then I got another text from the neighbor one night telling me that mother-in-law drunkenly admitted that I wasn't invited. So I drove over an hour to town with the paperwork listing my brothers and I as owners and showed the sheriff the text message stating I wasn't invited and told them I wanted everyone off the properties.
I'm already hearing the da-da-da-da-da, like the strong violins. Get them.
Get them. The sheriff and some deputies escorted me to the houses to shut the party down. The sheriffs entered the party... party down, shut it down, telling the guests that the owner wanted everyone gone. Mom and dad-in-law threw a fit, and that's when the sheriff arrested them for public intoxication.
Oh, shit. Because they're not their private residence.
No, yeah. Youngest brother is mad at me, but his fiance's on my side. I love the idea.
It's always the woman.
The fiance's like, yeah, why the fuck
I
are we
was
here?
uncomfortable the entire time, and no one listened to me.
The fiance's on my side. The brothers and sisters are also split as to whether or not I was wrong, but there seems to be a common consensus that I could have handled things differently. So, am I the asshole? There's an edit. There's always been a hidden lockbox with keys in them. I don't know that anyone has ever had copies made, but I paid the neighbor's husband to change all the locks on both houses and to lock the garage doors and disable the garage door opener. I had to get back home because I have a cat and a dog to look after, otherwise I would have changed everything myself.
Yeah, no,
They were literally trespassing.
Correct.
They also didn't tell him that there was going to be a party, or I don't know if he knew that they were going to be there.
Right.
Or not, but even if they were there, that's a major violation of trust.
All of these Reddit Am I the Asshole stories is always where are people getting the social confidence to do stuff like this?
And then act upset about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the poster that's upset about it, and that's wild.
I do feel bad for the original poster because it's I wanted to have a relationship
Yeah.
with my
In-laws.
with my
Ex-in-laws.
what's the word for when your like partner has passed?
Like widower?
Yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, he's like, I still wanted a connection with
Yeah.
that side of family. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like he considered himself part of the family, and to find out that they do not consider you part of the family still,
Yeah.
but like in a way that doesn't ignore you but takes advantage of you,
Yeah, it
is
takes
especially hurtful.
It's one thing if they just ignore you and you can just be like, okay, well, screw you.
Right.
Or like, I can live with like diminished contact. It's another thing if they're like openly using your assets
Right.
without acknowledging you.
Also, they're like, everyone agrees I could have handled it better. Well, you were at his house uninvited and everyone was aware that you were uninvited.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys could have handled it a lot better, and you put yourself in a situation
Yeah.
to where anything could happen. I mean, obviously, this isn't like a controversial take. You and I have
Yeah.
split before on
no, this
some
is-
Am I the Asshole
It's
stuff.
literally only one and it's the same one every time.
I just, I do feel bad for him.
Yeah,
that
that sucks.
this whole connection, and also that it like continues to impact the memories he has with his
husband. Yeah. And I also just love the petty, I don't know, follow through, because at some point he's just like, fine, like whatever, it's fine,
Right.
like whatever, I can deal with it, they can deal with it,
It
we'll
also
talk about it
sounds
later.
like when he first heard about them being there, he
wasn't-
still didn't like
no, he
shut
didn't. It took like a
down.
couple texts where and then he was like, all right, where's the title?
Right, exactly.
And I'm driving out there.
Because the drunkenly admitted that so and so wasn't invited means you either
To
are
a
like
neighbor.
bragging about
Yeah.
it or such a weird situation. Like we have friends in our own group who they themselves don't own vacation properties, but they have parents or an uncle or whatnot, and we're always super grateful to be invited to those situations. But as active people in our lives, still none of us has any assumption
No, that we're
to like claim
get
to
right
any
to
of that.
thing.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I love that he like took the title and went down there,
To
got
the
the sheriff and kicked them out. Like he went all the way. It wasn't even like he gave them a chance. He was like, well, what the fuck are you doing here?
Right.
And I also love that the fiance was like, I knew it.
Also, I would. The way I wish this was an Am I the Asshole for? Am I the asshole for thinking my in-laws don't like me because they only invite me to hang out at my lake house? Because I could see a dynamic where
Yes.
that emerges, where I'm never invited to Christmas and I'm never invited to Thanksgiving.
But anytime they want the lake house, I'm invited.
I'm invited to a family gathering at the lake house.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's such a worse situation.
That is a worse
Because then you're
situation.
being like, do I cut ties or do I just acknowledge that I'm being like taken
Used,
advantage
yeah.
of? But this is like, no, we're just going to use you and not even like put you in a
Yeah,
social
that's
situation
not-
to think that you're included.
No, I love it.
It's funny.
I mean, I don't love it for the person.
No.
But I love it. I love the
I
situation.
would have loved to have been there because it sounds like it was pretty late at night too, you know?
Yeah.
And so the tough thing too is like, okay, let's find the kids. Can we pack the kids up in time? Like,
Yeah.
where are mom and dad? Where did we put everything?
Yeah.
Who's sober enough to drive away? Where is everyone going to go?
Yeah.
Like the logistical hurdles that happen
Oh my God.
immediately as soon as you can't
That's
stay
so
there.
anxiety inducing, and
Yeah.
I think at that point I would just like dip.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to deal with that.
I wonder if you should like, no, you can't like charge them in like small claims court for like the cost to like rekey the house
If there
and
was
everything.
damage, probably.
But even like you could argue that like what they did was breaking and entering and I had to rekey the entire house. And even though I'm not like charging them with like criminal breaking and entering, their actions did incur a financial cost onto me.
I think that could still, I don't know if that would hold up in court just because it's still your choice to rekey. Like, it is a matter of personal safety, but it's not like my house burned down because of you, and now I have to rebuild my house.
Take them to court in small claims court for gas money.
Take them to Judge Judy.
Yes. Or Judge Thomas from Out on a Limb. Who was it? Yeah. He'll change your life.
Yeah. I've been, every once in a while when I need something on in the background, I'll just throw Judge Judy on.
That's probably better for you than CNN.
Oh, 100%. She's also like, there's a couple times where I like incessantly disagree with her, and I'm like,
That's what makes it such good television.
and then
though.
it cuts to like, they have one clip that always replays like right before they go to a commercial break, and it's like, my opinion is the only one that matters. And I'm like,
Bang, bang, bang.
I'm like, you're right.
Welcome
you're right,
to
Judy.
my classroom when I have a gavel and we're doing a mock like debate or something.
Yeah.
I have absolutely hammered kids down before. Not physically, like just like audioly. I passed
get
the ELA test with flying colors.
Yay!
I really did though. That's what's so funny about it all.
I know, Grant. I showed up to a party this weekend, and Grant was like, "Can you tell me the difference between a complex and a compound sentence?" And I was like, "What the?"
Well, can you? And then can you tell me what a complex compound sentence is?
Nope.
Exactly, and I couldn't either until I studied for 2 days.
Well, I can now.
The tough thing is, like, I clearly had the English skills to, like, navigate the professional world, but I needed to demonstrate that I had the English skills to teach English, and that was a different bar.
Yeah,
and that was a bar I barely hit on the first practice test, and then, okay, little breathing room on the second practice test, and then the actual test was the easiest test, and this is my molehill. This is my molehill.
There it is.
I am convinced that this testing company, which I will not name because as a teacher, it's a pretty important institution in my field, but I am convinced that this institution makes its practice tests
so
intentionally hard to
so
get you to buy
more?
the test prep material 100%.
That's so rude.
Because having studied, obviously did not buy this test prep material. I was like, it felt like paying for Tinder Plus.
No, yeah.
I was like, I am not going to do that. I need to figure it out on my own or die alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like those are my options.
Those are the only two options. Yeah. That's so hard because the FE, I think, was actually harder than the practice
Oh, was it?
tests.
I'm sorry. I studied so hard after getting like just average scores on the practice test that I actually beat the curve.
Nice.
And scored in one of the top percentiles, which that's not good for English instruction. I shouldn't.
You can't know too much.
No, I don't know that much. I just am a good test taker and can prep well. I really am, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I have a whole bunch of theories, obviously, but have such a good visual memory for things. Like if I drive to like a new location once, I can always get back.
Yeah.
I just have to get on the road at some point and then I can like go from there. I can also visually recognize the structure of questions that were on the review guides. And so without even understanding, in fact, here's a fun story. Maybe it's a Patreon story, but who knows? I have a bit of a sinus headache, so we're just going to kind of watch me be manic for half a second. When I was a freshman in college, I took an online course, and this is 2011, so you're still going in physically to test.
Yeah.
And I kept getting bad grades. I mean, like, oh, I'll get it next weekend, and then I didn't. And then I had to get a 2% on the final to pass the class and get credit for it.
Ouch.
Yep. But great news. The test would be 50 questions, pulled from a pool of 300 questions chosen at random, and we had access to all 300 questions. Like that wasn't like a backdoor thing. They were like, here is everything that's going to be on the test, and it'll randomly pick 50. And so I spent 3 days rote memorizing every single question to the point where I really did not understand some of the content that I was reading, but I did know like what I needed to pair it up with. Got a 98% on that bad boy. I misfired on 2.
See, I entered the wrong field because fucking engineers, man, engineering professors are the meanest goddamn people on the planet. I could do anything I wanted, and there was one time that I got a problem on, what was it? Not mass balances. It was transport. We called it transport. I don't remember what it was short for. But I got a question, and it was the last semester this class was being taught ever, because the major that I was technically doing was being discontinued after I graduated.
Oh, okay.
It was because I have a degree in chemical and biochemical engineering, and they wanted to translate that to like chemical engineering with a focus in biology, because it sounds like I have a double major, and I absolutely don't. So this was the last semester that this guy was teaching this class, and he like basically he told me that as long as I did everything, like turned in everything, he would make sure I passed.
Nice, okay.
Because he was like, I'm not teaching this again.
This is your one chance to get credit.
So I did one of the tests, and I misunderstood the question, and so I started with the wrong formula, and so I got the wrong answer, and so I went in afterwards and was like, I don't understand how I got this wrong. Like, I didn't even get any partial credit, and most engineering professors are like pretty good about giving partial credit. If you start with the right formula, you'll get credit. He was like, you started with the wrong formula.
You didn't even write it. Like, now you have to rewrite the essay.
He was like, if this was the question, you like blocked out one of the sentences, this would be right. Your work is all right. Your formula is right for that instance. Your answer is right. I can't give you any credit for this. And I was like,
wasn't the question.
Ma'am!
Well, I'm going to set myself on fire. Or you could give me some points.
He was nice enough. I ended up doing fine on that.
I mean, you have a degree from mine, so it's right behind me.
I do. It was, I don't know how.
I am excited for Friends and Foes next.
I am too.
Episode title to come. Jill's still figuring that out. And I'm excited too because I've done enough research that I know there's a story there, but I don't know it yet.
This would have been such a good theme for Houdini and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
So my next week's... No, I'm kidding. But no, I am legitimately excited for it, and I think I'm going to sign off. My head is on fire with my sinus pressure right now, which I think you've probably noticed the last
I have
10 minutes.
I have noticed a little bit.
It hurts to laugh, and listen, that's the kind of curse that an old witch would put on me, because I love to laugh, you know?
Yeah, you do.
I'm fine with aging. Do not take my laugh.
Do you want to do a double Patreon record?
That is what I want to do.
Sunday? Okay, cool.
I literally could not
I was
laugh
like
right
trying
now.
to think. I was like, we can't wait until you're back
No,
because
we
that's
cannot.
too late.
No, we cannot.
Yeah, we can do 2 on Sunday. We can just start working
Thanks, babes.
earlier. So this is a shorter episode, but
It's been a while since we've done a listener
was fun.
episode.
Yeah.
This has been really good.
hell yeah, brother.
Thank you for joining us. If you would like to find more of us, we are Well I Laughed on basically all social media accounts. You can find more content on Patreon, where we are Well I Laughed Podcast. And you can email us with your own listener stories for friend
Please.
or foes at Well
Or
I
anything.
Laughed. So true. We will read kind of anything on air.
Yeah.
At Well I Laughed, at Well I Laughed Pod at gmail.com.
I just realized my shirt's inside out.
It's been inside out the entire time.
Yep.
100%. Since I got here.
Cool.
I just love how casual it's been tonight. I'm in
Okay,
a t-shirt.
bye.
Bye.